This is the We Get Outdoors 6 in 16 interview series, where we introduce you to some of the world's leading outdoor and adventure gear brands and the brains behind them. And we have a brain adventurer, nomad, and intrepid explorer tonight. So this is your chance to get a real behind the scenes look into what's happening currently and in the future for outdoor brands that you love. And like I said, this brand, if you haven't heard of them already, you are gonna love them, because as soon as I found out about this brand, I went to bed that night and all I dreamt was a road trip. And Steve Moore is gonna give you a little bit of an insight into why I had a dream about the road trip. So 6 questions in under 16 minutes. Steve, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Right. Steve Moore, who are you and why should we care?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Mark. I'm Steve Moore, one of the founders of Camp and Car. It was a business that was started by me and a longtime friend of mine named Martin, who's an engineer. And we're a business founded by adventure lovers and engineers that is seeking to change the way the industry approaches van life and vehicle camping by creating DIY assembly kits that make this kind of travel more fun and more accessible. And it's all founded on this sort of adventure loving backbone that, we went into without the intention of turning into a business, but it just kind of came out that way. And, really what we're trying to do is, steer this whole like movement of nomadic living and travel and camping as a sort of way for people to get away from excessive consumption and lean into a lifestyle and a means of enjoying the outdoors that's more sustainable, more flexible, and gives people more freedom in how they roam.
Such a cool concept. I love it, because there's a lot of people out there who love their cars and they don't want to get rid of the cars. And now you can bring their two loves together. So
Yeah.
what should our listeners know about Camp and Car?
Well, all of this started, I think, one thing that really resonates with people about us is we're not just, these people who had an idea to make money. This all started because I decided that I wanted to quit my comfortable office job in downtown Seattle and go travel in Alaska for 6 months in my vehicle, which was a Honda Element. And my business partner and I, just being buddies, not even business partners at the time, who like to make things together, got together and were like, we could design a really cool live and build for your Element. And so we did it using 3D modeling and CNC machinery because he's an engineer, and created this really cool sleeper platform system with storage compartments in the back of my Honda Element that I would then live out of for 6 months while traveling in Alaska and Northern Canada as a touring musician. And that whole concept for that original build is what would feed the idea for the business in the future, because people would see it and they'd be like, wow, this is so cool and professional looking. Like, did you just make this for fun? You should make this as a living. And we were like, oh, I don't know, we'll see. And then eventually one day when I got back to Washington from all the travel, he and I were just like, we got to do this for real, man. And so that's kind of, it started out as just this kind of custom work camp company, inspired by this journey I had in Alaska and this desire to help other people have this kind of travel and have this kind of setup in their vehicle that was simple but effective and really just, made that kind of adventuring, better and more fun. And so that's kind of the foundation of what this is all built on. And I think that story really resonates with a lot of people and really informs a lot of what we do as a business.
So cool. And your DIY kits, they fit any vehicle, or have you worked with some crazy vehicles in the past?
Well, the DIY kits we have right now, the trunk bunks, which are kind of a slatted bed system that, give you an elevated place to sleep and store gear underneath in a vehicle. Those work in a lot of different vehicles. You kind of need like a relatively flat area in the back of your vehicle, like a truck bed or an SUV with seats that fold down, or a minivan works great. So it can work for a lot of different vehicles. It's not a one size fits all thing, but the longer we do this and the more options we have, the more kinds of vehicles we're able to accommodate. And we do some custom work as well. If people can come to where our shop is located in Port Townsend, Washington, on the beautiful Olympic Peninsula. So, we do offer a lot of options for people and try and accommodate everyone we can to, get something that they can adventure in their vehicle with.
Sounds so cool. I've got a vehicle in mind I want to bring to you.
All right. Well, if you can get it from South Africa to the Olympic Peninsula, we'll help you out, man.
Oh, my dream car is the Toyota Land Cruiser 78.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that would be an epic car. So, what's the thing that sets Camp and Car apart from your competition? But I can't imagine there are many people out there that are doing DIY kits, but there's quite a few people who are looking after your same customers, aren't they?
Yeah, so there's a lot of companies out there, at least in the Western United States right now, that are doing custom van builds, and they kind of narrow in on this world of like six-figure full conversions on expensive Sprinter vans and other vehicles that cost a lot of money. And the market is really serving that sort of upper 1% of van lifers right now. And we really saw an opportunity to represent a much wider range of people and adventurous, and just get more people helped out on this front, as opposed to just really focusing in on this kind of high priced thing that's not accessible to most people. And so what we're really trying to do is carve out a niche for ourselves in that world, and it definitely exists and it isn't being served. And that's really what stands us apart, is we're working to make products and work with people from all walks of life and income levels, as opposed to just these $500,000 van builds that kind of exist and are a dime a dozen as far as the companies are concerned right now.
Yeah, it's crazy because I was looking at coming over to do a road trip, and I was looking at hiring like an RV or something, or a Sprinter, and it makes a lot. But they were like 200. Again, we have a different currency. It's quite a weak currency, but there was like $250 a day to hire this van.
Yeah.
I'm going, it's almost worthwhile to fly over, buy a car, bring it to you, put a DIY kit in. I'll probably save you money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really doesn't have to be this like multiple tens of thousands of dollars of investment if you just want a vehicle that you can sleep in and have a comfortable existence in while you travel around. I mean, there's so many ways to accommodate your needs that don't have to go into this really excessive overpriced build, for sure.
Very cool. So Steve, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit more. I'm going to test your ability to wiggle your way out of a difficult question. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
So what is the big secret thing that you are currently working on that your customers will love? The thing that you really don't want to say, but you're going to tell us anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few things right now. We've got stuff like, we've got some projects going right now, kind of where some of it's public facing, where we're working with an individual and his nonprofit. The guy's name is Bob Wells. He's a kind of van life celebrity a little bit. He's got a YouTube channel called Cheap RV Living that a lot of people like. And we're working with his nonprofit called the Homes on Wheels Alliance, which is an organization that helps people avoid homelessness by awarding them with vans that are ready to live in, and gives them, taps them into a community of people and a support network to kind of help them transition and live a more comfortable life without, actually ending up on the streets. And so we're actually working with them right now on designing these minivan builds that we're going to donate to them, and sort of getting all of the design honed and working with their clients and getting feedback on what kind of features they'd like to see in these van builds, because they're actually going to be going to people who live in them full time through this charitable organization. And so that's something that's kind of working on in the background right now. And people know about the project, but there's a lot of like the details and the nitty gritty, adjustability of these minivan kits so they can go into a wide variety of minivans. And a lot of that stuff has, being fleshed out. And I think, that us working with a nonprofit like this is a really great way for us to feel good about running a business and using our resources to help the community, but also, provide eventually these minivan kits, not only for this nonprofit's clients, but for our customers at large as well. So people who own minivans and other vehicles where these would fit can have them for their adventures too.
Geesh, that's incredible. It's a great thing you're doing, and I think a really big need that you're fulfilling.
Yeah.
So yeah, massive kudos and congrats for getting involved in that. It's a very, very cool thing, very inspirational.
Yeah, it feels really good to, kind of, I come from the nonprofit sector in my early career. And so to kind of be in the for-profit world, but like reaching back into that, world of philanthropy feels really awesome, and I think is going to be a great way for us to, really have an impact as a company.
Very, very cool. So moving, obviously you're a big outdoor person. You've done some epic trips and stuff. What do you think is the future of the outdoors and the outdoor industry?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I've lived in the Northwest my whole life and, seen that more people are moving here. And a lot of that is because of this love for the outdoors and, to be able to have access to public land and beautiful wild places that they might not have in other parts of the country. And it's growing is really what's happening. The outdoor industry is growing. Love for the outdoors and interest in spending time in nature is increasing, and it's changing and moving in a direction that will hopefully increase access, to these kinds of experiences and become more equitable in nature. I mean, I think people's increase in appreciation has the potential to grow our societal value for things like public land stewardship and environmentalism if it's, approached in the right way. Obviously, if it's not, it can have the opposite impact. Things can get loved to death. But I do believe that there is a strong contingency of people out there who want to do it right and want to see, more lobbying towards, valuing our public lands and making sure they're taken care of and properly funded. And I hope that, the increase in the industry pushes it in that direction, because it almost becomes this thing where it's like, if it has to be tied to capitalism, it can be, because we can say, hey, we have all this value in our land for its natural beauty and appreciation, and we need to take care of it, otherwise it'll be detrimental to our societal well-being and even our economy. So my hope is that the outdoor industry, as it grows, has this sort of positive feedback loop effect on public land and environmental stewardship.
Yeah, very cool. I think it's something that we both share a very common passion for, both between Camp and Car and We Get Outdoors. So,
Yeah.
Steve, what is your message to all those people that get out in the outdoors?
Yeah, I mean, just based on my own experiences, I feel like I enjoy the outdoors and connection to nature when I'm doing just that. I'm connecting more, and I'm not worried as much about consuming a lot of stuff. It's about like getting the right kind of gear once, so you only have to, you don't have to think about it all the time. And that's sort of like, what we tell people is like, don't buy our stuff unless you feel like you really need it, unless you feel like it's going to get you to that place where you're going to really enjoy your experiences at the hand of what we're giving you, because it can become this overbearing like obsession with gear and buying stuff and like just sort of feeding into this cycle of consumption, um, and forgetting about that sort of spark that got you wanting to buy that stuff in the first place. And that's that connection to the outdoors and nature and our community and ultimately ourselves. I mean, being in the outdoors and going on adventures is the one of the ultimate ways to connect with the deeper self and be vulnerable with your thoughts and where your life is going, and all of these really important things that we all need to do for ourselves and the well-being of those around us. And so any it's always about like just getting back to that core. It's even as someone who's got a stake in wanting to sell outdoor gear, like that is the most important thing. And if what we make helps you get there, then great. And if it doesn't, then don't worry about it. There's plenty of other people that are want our stuff, that we're not gonna try and force anyone to get anything from us if it's not going to help them have that experience.
That's a fantastic ethos. I think it's a really good endorsement of why Camp and Car is a brand that people should really engage with, because of your ethos and your philosophy about the outdoors, and it ties really nicely. So I would encourage all of you to go and check out Steve and Camp and Car by visiting all their social media channels and websites, and I'll put all the descriptions below where you can go and check out Steve and Camp and Car. Steve, thank you for your time today, and may 2021 be an especially successful year for yourself and for Camp and Car.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's been a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate you inviting us and giving us your time.